Everybody, so today I'm looking for a former disused railway line, and it is the Stanton and Shipley Railway, opened in the late 1800s by the Midland Railway, and it lasted until 1985, where the last workings came from the West Hallam Coal Screening point, headed south down the branch and joined the Erewash Valley Line around about where the former Stanton Gate station was. So today I'm going to pick it up around about where Stanton Ironworks was, and that is all under redevelopment at the moment, and it should have a very nice lease of life heading forward. So we're going to take it north and we're going to head off towards Hallam and Ilkeston and see what remains along the way, and get as far as where the Great Northern Railway Derbyshire Gate line used to cross over, and see what it's like when we get there. So I'm going to cross over the Erewash Valley Line now. I've got to take a bit of a deviation over to where we can pick up this former Stanton and Shipley railway line. Right, here we are on our former Midland Railway Stanton Gate Shipley railway line, and the Stanton Ironworks was on all that land over there and off to Shipley and Ilkeston just before Shipley in that direction. And our track bed, well, it's gone. It's been obliterated in this direction over Stanton. You can see the remains of some ballast up, evidence of what was once here. Since 1985 it's been out of action, but the track bed was repurposed 25 years ago to form the Nutbrook Trail, and it's absolutely beautiful down there. There's some beautiful railway bridges and all sorts of history along this route. So just off the track bed, which is just there, we've got a large area of the former site of the Stanton Ironworks, and we've looked at this in previous videos. Now straight in the centre of the shot, just there are some railway workers, and they've got sleepers on the back of a wagon over there. So there's some sort of work going off there for the line, which was reactivated around about a year and a half ago for scrap metal trains, and also redevelopment of this land. The Nut Brook Canal also follows the route over there, over the railway line, which is joined onto the Erewash Valley Line over there, and the blue buildings in the background are the warehouses for West Transport. I might have a little look over there before we get back onto our Nutbrook Trail and just have a see what we can see of this reactivated railway line and any redevelopment. There it is, there's our track bed, and it is polished up. I'm not going to go anywhere near it because it is classed as a live line now, isn't it? Even though there's not a lot uses it. See, there's a set of point work over there which has been removed. I have actually just walked up to this. There was nothing to essentially keep me out. But I'm going to make my way back now onto our disused railway walk. So after a brief little nosy on the former Stanton Ironworks grounds and also the recently reactivated line off the Erewash Valley, heading down to Stanton Gate and into parts of the old loading areas of Stanton Ironworks, we're back on our route. And it's now named the Nutbrook Trail, as previously mentioned. And that name derives from the Nut Brook, which later had the Nutbrook Canal named after that. But that has been out of use for the majority of its route since 1895. That is a very long time ago for a canal. The last section, where it joins onto the Erewash Canal, was left in use up until around about the time the ironworks ceased production, and that happened in 2007. Also not far over to my right was the Great Northern Railway. Oh, here we go, we've got something here, look, some remains. Parts of an old ground frame maybe. Yeah, that's definitely railway related, isn't it? It's a bit just there, a bit of timber down there and some smashed up concrete pieces. Yeah, as I was saying, there was an almost parallel line a short distance over there, a few hundred yards of the Great Northern Railway, and this route will meet up with that once we get to Straw's Bridge just outside of Ilkeston. I can see some sort of concrete formation coming up, so possibly some kind of bridge or mount for a water pipe to cross over. So here's our first image of the Nut Brook. Look, there's a culvert under there, it doesn't go far. Potentially it was some sort of a rail access or road access. Right here, we've got this concrete formation. I do believe it would have been a bridge. And if we look at it closely, it's even got the old cable mount for telecommunications. There's the abutment on the opposite side. I've since just checked on maps and it appears that it was some sort of railway crossing. It was actually a railway line, single track going across the top, joining onto the Great Northern Railway that I mentioned earlier and over to that side of the Stanton Ironworks. I'm wondering if we could actually get up on top of it and just have a little it's security fenced up there, look, so that's going to be a bit tricky. Let's have a look at the other side. It's worth a shot, isn't it? Around here. And I mean, again, it is. I'll leave my bag on that abutment and I'll see if I can. No, I think it's going to be a bit too steep. Oh, there we go. Right. So yeah, you can see where we were down there. And there's that forward track bed, what you can see of it, where it would have crossed a long time ago. Yeah, so it could have been a railway crossing. It kind of looked like the right shape for a railway crossing. If I find any more info out on that when I put the videos together, I shall find it out and put the information in. Not many pictures of this route have come across so far either, so hopefully when I put it together I will come across a few. There's some kind of old railway marker post there, look. There's a really deep manhole behind it. Can't say I've really seen them black with white decals on them before, but that's what it is. It's very noisy over there because a lot of this reclaimed land from Stanton Ironworks, the nearby industry, is used for metal recycling. So there's a lot of that going on around here, and that's potentially the noise you can hear in the background. So back with the Nut Brook again, and lots of noisy metal recycling going off. There's the Nut Brook there, and it heads off over there. This is Quarry Hill Road. On the right hand side it's Quarry Hill Road, and on the left it turns into Ilkeston Road. And if we took it up Quarry Hill Road, we'd actually end up in Ilkeston. And look at this beautiful triple arch bridge. Let's go through it and have a look at the other side. So it's been reinforced with corrugated steel. So I bet that was done around about the time the path was opened. Yep, and the same on that one. And also the same on the third one. That's a lovely little bridge, isn't it? That nice little triple arch bridge. So the next bit of interest we come to is Ladybrook Road, and just over to that side of me was West Hallam Colliery. No idea when that opened or closed, but it's definitely not been there since I've been around anyway. On the opposite side, once we got under the bridge, there was the Ilkeston Corporation Waterworks, and I believe there's still evidence of a small watered pond area to suggest that that once stood there. So I'll see you down at the Ladywood Bridge. Some repurposed sleepers there. Look at a small coping stone bridge. There's a little brook going beneath that, and then we're about to cross this concrete walled side bridge. I have to wonder if it's maybe the Nut Brook again. Just looks like a little dike from what I can see. You can't really see anything because the gaps are that small. Let's have a look the other side. There it is, look. So yeah, coming up to Ladywood Road Bridge, just around this bend. Also worth mentioning that as we approach Ladywood Road, we are pretty much running parallel to the Nut Brook, and the Nut Brook Canal is right the other side, so all three of them are side by side, three in a row. The bridge is just coming up into view ahead. So I've come off the track bed momentarily. We're going to have a look at where this Waterworks used to stand. But already look at these curious little archways underneath the bridge of Ladywood Road. Very, very small, and you can just see through the other end. Curious bricks around on that third one. I think I'm going to have a wander over and check that out if I can get close to it. So it appears to be Culverton at the other end, but there's a curious... Oh, there it is. Look. It's obvious when you see it, isn't it? So continuing along the path, you've got the lake over there. The Waterworks was situated around this side of the lake. So there's the lake just there. The railway line is on the embankment on the opposite side, and the Waterworks would have once proudly stood where it's all overgrown. It doesn't look like there are any remnants left of this establishment, so I should proceed back and rejoin our railway line. So back on our track bed, Stanton that way, Shipley that way, and the Waterworks was just over there. The next bridge we'll come to is the A609, but another point of interest just over there, as if it was heading towards Ilkeston, is the former brick kiln works, which housed Hoffman brick kilns. I'm going to see if I can find it, and if I can, that will feature in a separate video to this one. So at first glance you see a little bit of rail bolted into the side of the cutting, look, but it's been turned into a bench, a sleeper repurposed. and it carries on all the way along here, even with some boulder rail holding it down, and some old sleepers there. Look, that's really good, isn't it? So I've come off the track again just to have a look up here, because the Hoffman brick kilns, I believe, are somewhere up here. And I don't know if you can get in or if you cannot, but I'm going to have a look and then we'll be straight back down onto our Stanton and Shipley railway line. And yes, I did in fact find the brick kiln works, and this shall feature in the video probably right after this one. Let's get back onto our Stanton and Shipley railway line. So I'm back on our track bed now, the Stanton Gate to Shipley line. I did get the brickworks done, so that'll come up in another video. I'm going to proceed now towards our next pair of bridges before we finish this railway walk. So brilliant, it's two bridges, one after the other. This one, an access bridge into the local amenities, and further down there we've got the A609, a very, very busy road at times. It's another triple arch, which seems to symbolise the bridges along this route. I think they've all been like this, haven't they? Really, really good condition. Some lovely, lovely bridges along this route. Let's have a look on the other side. You just see that pinpoint at the end. That's the next bridge, the A609, and this is what we've got to behold on the opposite side. Gorgeous, isn't it? Beautifully preserved and looked after. So that's where we've come from down there, and if you just seen the previous shot, we've got this, another triple arch. That's fenced off on that side for some unknown reason. Maybe it's a little more unstable than the rest of it. Triple arches again, as I mentioned, and that's the A609 Derby Road. Travelling above it with Ilkeston just up the hill over there. Still got the blackened roof look from the steam, and more recent the diesel, because don't forget it was only closed in 1985, which is relatively recent compared to a lot of railways in this area. Now further down here it got very, very complicated. Lots of railways, Midland Railway, Great Northern Railways, pits, collieries, quarries, you name it, they were all down there, and it was like a tin of Heinz spaghetti tipped onto your tabletop. So it's something that I'll try and have a look in better detail another time. I'm going to go a bit further down here and just meet up with the Derby-Friargate line crossed over this Midland Railway line. And there is also access down from the 609 road above, should you wish to join it this way, because over there you've got Strawsbridge Pond and there is a car park, and you can join it up here too. And the canal and the Nut Brook also run along this section. Okay, just here is the former course of the canal and also the Nut Brook. You see flowing just down there. They both ran pretty much alongside each other and carried on. Our railway line disappears. It goes beyond that bushy area there. A long time ago I came down here and you could walk up that, but I think it was winter, so it made it a hell of a lot easier, but it's very overgrown. So I'm going to follow the path around and pick it up, as I said previously, where the Friargate line once shot across the landscape. We now met up with the former embankment of the Derby-Friargate line, and we're going to walk up here and take you across. Now you remember at the very beginning of the video I mentioned the West Hallam Coal Screening plant. there are some remnants of the track bed still there today. I'll get you up on top. Hopefully there's nobody there so I feel silly. So yeah, Ilkeston, Bentley Viaduct in that direction, and over that way, Morley, Bredsall and on to Derby. And this is the location of my very first disused railway walk, and I'll put a link onto that if you fancy following me all the way towards Bredsall. It's hard to think that this was once a busy former main line between Nottingham and Derby. You can still see it, can't you? You can just make out what it once was, looking at the landscape, the embankments either side and how flat it is. And just down here is where we'll find the remains of our track bed. Still sat here since the last time it was used in 1985. Centre point work, sleepers intact, but for some very strange reason it was left here when the rest was removed. We've popped through here, hopefully without cobwebs in the face. That is our former track bed that we've been following all this morning. So where I said Strawsbridge Pond was, and I walked it once and I couldn't today because it was overgrown, so it was probably in the winter time. That's where that is, just down there, and the ground frame for where the point lever once stood. So I do very much hope you enjoyed this video along the former Stanton Gate Shipley Railway as far as Ilkeston, about a 10-minute walk over there, and I'm walking back on the Great Northern Railway's Derby-Friargate line. Now I will come back at a later date at this year and we'll have a look at all the different routes that's over there and see which ones we could pick out and walk along, which could include also the former Great Northern line to Hena. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you all channel, YouTube members, and also Patreon, and also people that buy me coffees, etc. Like, subscribe, please comment below. See you in the next one. Bye bye.